split, so going to be nice that FPX are able to get it once again. JDG, with so many AD carry bans going straight towards the Aphelios, a bit surprising, right? Us highlighting how much they have leaned on that Ezreal, but bringing out the hyper carry, right? Something that was recently buffed, and then Kanavi going back towards the Viego, the typical answer to come out. Now for FPX, I'm really curious to see where Lwx and Hung go for their bottom lane picks. You'd expect them to look to match here. Jinx, Xayah being two picks that are both open, the Ezreal as well, something we highlighted, but just going to bring us back to the old days of early spring, Jinx versus Aphelios hyper carries.
Do you remember when everyone said they loved Arcane? But Renata is a potential here. I think could pair decently well with the Jinx. I still wonder, okay, they're just going to lock in. I was going to beg some questions there to see if maybe they wanted to go in another direction, but they do lock the Renata in with the Jinx. So the combo has been achieved for Lwx. And again, you got to look for Lwx to boom, or you're going to get a little bit of a bust from FPX.
Yeah, now I want to see where JDG go with this one, especially for support. It's
Let's
just gonna
go.
instead opt to lock in top right now. 369 bringing out the Gangplank. He's also gotten a pentakill on the split. A lot of pentakills between these two teams right now. But looking at support, for missing things like Nautilus, he hasn't even gravitated to at all this split. Hasn't even played a single game. I think an area like that brings frontline would be like what you're looking towards. Split a lot of Leona. Hasn't played any games of like enchanters like Lulu, has brought out the Karma, so I'm kind of curious about where he's going to want to look to go in terms of bot lane. But JDG for now, not caring about bot lane, just banning out some of these answers
like
that they don't want up against the GP. Always happy when Gwen is taken off the board because we've seen how impactful that pick could be.
Yeah, getting a lot of the late game scalers, if there's anything to note from JDG's bans there on the red side, right? The Zeri, the Senna, as well as the Kale and the Gwen. I was going to call her Gale. I don't know. Maybe that's a new name for Gwen. New skin. But as we go to the second phase of bans, we do see the TF as well banned by FPX and the Silas. So a little bit of a change up in that direction. And now JDG's on the table here. Still looking for the support and mid laner.
I feel like Nautilus would be the best option. We just highlighted that Missing has not played it yet this split. I mean, you have like the all-in potential if you bring Kanavi down to look for those ganks and to try to out 3v3 them. Now for the side of FPX of where xiaolaohu and Care will look to go. A lot of blind pick mids off the table. Things like Galio are still up. You have something like Wukong if you do want to be able to bring it into the back line. You have teams that are willing to blind pick Lissandra. The obvious one being xiaolaohu, who just seems like he's comfortable picking it into any champion. But FPX are just going to default to the Galio that we just hit on. And when you have xiaolaohu in the top lane who loves these side lane threats, you could set up beautifully with this combo.
Nicely done by FPX. They get a huge wombo combo in terms of the Camille Galio, but as well as the Wukong. Like, that's a great setup for the heroic entrance as well onto the back line. So we'll see how they pilot this.
You even have Renata, right, to like peel and keep your Jinx safe, so it's not just like, okay, everyone jumps in and then see ya, Lwx, fend for yourself. No, Hung will be right there, right beside him to make sure that everything is fine. And now for JDG getting the Yagao special of LeBlanc. This was his go-to bread and butter pick back in 2020 when we think of so many of those defining games that JDG had against top esports to be able to pick up their own trophy. And yeah, I think both interesting comps coming out from both sides, right? For FPX, you hit on it, the Wombo combo able to come out. Very easy dive access to the back line when you have a very immobile AD carry to play against. So for FPX, it's all about those 5v5s. For JDG, I mean, they definitely could team fight, right? But feels like we want to see more of Yagao, Kanavi linking up, trying to find some of these picks. Circumventing Care from being able to move or have agency on the map to set his AD carry behind.
I know we were looking at or at least hoping for the Hope snowball, but at this point it feels like a snowball potential for both sides. We're in the Rocky Mountains at this point, and both teams are on either side trying to build up a big snowball for themselves, because a lot in that bot lane, we could get a very easy game, nothing going down there, but if we do get, a kill to the Jinx, things start heating up, getting excited, and we could see some things turn on its head. But at least to the start of this series, I would expect a little bit of confidence from JDG, maybe a little bit of respect from FPX themselves, as I think we've gotten a very topsy-turvy draft in terms of both teams getting a lot of what they want, but as well as still the cohesion that needs to be crucial, right? You have the movement from the Yagao LeBlanc in the mid lane trying to match the Galio on the other side and trying to I guess, weave between the composition styles for both these two teams. And I think in this first game, it's going to tell us a lot of the way that the series meta itself is going to pan out, right? Will Clid just pop off on the Wukong? Will this pick be permanently banned again? We'll find out as competition is anew. It is FPX versus JDG.
FPX picking up their first win of the split in their last series against RA. Would love to keep up that momentum and more by delivering JDG their first loss, sitting 6-0 right now. Again, in their wins, they have just looked immaculate so far, but getting an evade coming out from FPX.
I like the five-man grouping that they had, you know, all in sync, all in line, ready to go, but nothing going to come of it. It's good to look for these early advantages, but nothing too much. I will point out, though, cold start for Lwx, so a little bit more in that farming department there in the bottom lane, and rightfully so, I feel like.
Yeah, already kind of knowing what they're angling for, right, in terms of scaling, able to come through in that bottom side. They're going to have to be a bit careful, right, because if Missing's able to land a hook, if you're able to trade summoners with the bot lane of FPX, I mean, they're the squishy range champions who are going to want to be walking up, pushing the wave in. It will just set them up very nicely for some easy ganks to come through for Kanavi. But both junglers going towards opposite sides of the map so far. Clid kind of recognizing heading down towards that bot side, to where Kanavi going to play up towards top for 369.
I'm going to stay in a bit of an aggressive position up in this bottom lane here as Hope and Missing come to lane. Look at some poke on them, but it is the opposite side starts for both junglers here. See what that leads to, as Kanavi would not mind getting 369 a little bit of an advantage in top lane if he can do so, but it's going to be Clid potentially looking towards his mid bot.
Yeah, and I think for this top lane matchup, we can already see 369 using his level 1 advantage in terms of just having that parlay that's only on a 5-second cooldown. Your passive, incredibly strong as well. xiaolaohu, of course, going towards the first strike, something that has been pretty common on Camille in a lot of these easier matchups. Gives you the burst necessary, but also being able to stack up that gold is xiaolaohu so far getting absolutely dominated.
Not having fun. I will tell you that much right now. Here comes Kanavi, though, with some unique pathing, going for some aggression against Clid, but Clid will not have that today. They're going to fight over some chicky nuggies in the parking lot.
Yeah, and you can see, right, he feels confident because Yagao has pushed in the mid lane, and he's hovering down towards his bottom side, just in case anything breaks out. Kanavi not able to get the big raptor, but still gets some nice damage onto Clid before he decides to back out. Just going to walk through. Oh, no. Mazel, we got baited.
We got baited.
We didn't get baited. He's going back.
Oh, he is, and he has first call on this bottom lane. Hung and Lwx are pushed up very far, but I don't know if this is necessarily something that JDG can capitalize on with the state of their wave. They'll try to, though. Flash from Missing. They get the nice little pushback with the handshake. Lwx has to flash, but it's too little too late. They're looking for the flashes themselves. Lwx, one last kill, and it'll be a reset for Kanavi. He's not going to take it, though, because all he needed was the blood.
Kanavi holds on to his W, waits for Lwx's flash to come through to guarantee the CC, and JDG are able to pick that one up. You look at all lanes right now, 369 winning in top side, Yagao keeping up prio in mid, and with JDG able to find that kill in bot, everything just working out wonderfully. Is we're going to go pretty far back in the replay. I guess they want to show us the vision of what Clid sees. Oh. Doesn't even notice Kanavi going there. I was going to say, right? You would assume they didn't notice, or I feel like FPX's bot lane wouldn't have been playing like this, and Clid would have roamed over sooner. But
on that last
the
step up from Lwx there, just the 1 foot forward.
And like we saw there, right? Kanavi holding onto the W, the flash comes through, able to lock him down, and it guarantees JDG picking up that first kill on the bot side.
Nicely done from JDG to get the early advantage in the bottom lane, or at least get it for Kanavi so he can continue to focus towards this bottom lane, as we have put so much onus on both of them to be the carries. So far, now FPX looking for their own advantage here, but this time in the mid lane as they had roamed up Hung as well, but they won't find anything. Clid going for some aggression up here, though, into the blue side jungle of Kanavi.
But look at the mini-map. Look how much vision control JDG have. They have a complete ward line going from top river to bot side river, so they know every move that FPX is looking to make. We do see Clid able to steal away a Gromp, but shouldn't be able to... Oh, actually, not even able to steal away a Gromp. And Kanavi's on his way down.
Oh, come on. Oh, feels bad. They spent so much time down here. Clid will get out with the blast cone, but it's still a little bit of wasted time there for FPX.
They're not going to be able to find anything, and now it sets up a potential gank to come out from Kanavi.
Clid is
Remember,
still here.
LWX has no flash.
Yeah, and LWX is definitely in the wrong angle here. They're trying to get Kanavi into distance, though. The stun's not going to come through. Look at that minion wave. And JDG pull off, but they might be looking to go back in. They aren't on the minion wave just yet. Kare was on his way, though, with Yagao right behind him. Nothing else going to come of it.
Yeah, Yagao had just gone for a reset, right? So he got back to his lane, was going to catch the wave, so Kare having the ability to move first. Also really nice by Hung, constantly staying in front of where Kanavi was, so no W can come through, no hook can come out for missing, and really just body blocking, not allowing for the play to happen. As, ooh, force up the flash, because if you look at the minimap, Kare was actually hovering up. They were trying to set up Hextech Ultimatum into the Galio ult to just take down 369, and now 369's wave pushing into xiaolaohu. He's in a really awkward position.
Yeah, he is. I love that they were looking for the early movements, right? You draft this composition for a reason. You've got to see the cohesion between the top trio and seeing that combo come off. We haven't seen it just yet, but they are looking for it at least, as Kanavi himself looking for first dragon of the game.
Kanavi doing good, kind of noticing with that play coming out. Kare leaning up towards the top side. That's probably where Clid would be as well. So JDG going to pick up their first dragon. And I think this is really good against FPX because FPX have been so insane about picking up first dragon this split and kind of using Soul Point as a bait to be like, okay, we're on Soul Point. We now give up dragon and we turn that into a Baron, or we turn that into a top lane inhibitor. And I feel like it's been one of the ways that FPX have been able to find game wins. So the fact that JDG are the team to start stacking up dragons so early on feels like a huge success.
All right, love to see it. Also love to see Kanavi up in the jungle here for JDG, at least in terms of early game advantages. They have found a little bit of something, but Clid, he's still on it, man. He's still on the invade, still looking for those little bits that he can grab, even if he is behind Kanavi.
The big thing is 369 has no flash now, right? So they want to capitalize on this, look for the gank. You can see them angling and even pinging for it to come through. Clid being very patient. xiaolaohu would need to land an Abscond Abduct, but even then you have, you know, the remove Scurvy from 369. So it looks like FPX is going to decide to back off. And, you know, the first 5 minutes, I'd say be, like, relatively, maybe not slow-paced. We'll say moderately paced. Now, we've got some action. We've seen JDG playing incredibly well. Heck, already having about a 1K gold lead. But now with Herald coming up, we see teams moving over, Mazel.
We do. We got a reset coming from LWX. I wonder if FPX are going to want to pull them up here, but it looks like we'll just get hope in the bottom lane, so there needs to be a response from FPX, and they will do so. This means a lot more pressure for JDG around the Rift Herald. Should be a free objective for them. Oh, nope, they're going for kills. Or they want to go for pressure.
We can see right now, 4 FPX are sending LWX back down to the bottom lane. This now opens up a window to where Hope can move to mid and even just like hover over in Fog of War, not let FPX know where he is if they wanted to start this one out. But JDG being very slow on pulling the trigger for this objective.
A little respect coming out early on. Missing not level 6 just yet. Hong isn't either. Rift Herald's already started up at Kanavi, but here comes FPX. Clid goes in for the Cyclone. Has the bailout on him. They find Missing. Oh my god. FPX just take him out.
Yeah, I mean, that was so confusing too with what Missing was doing. But JDG's still going to be able to get the Rift Herald off this play. They're going to back off. You lose 1 kill. And LWX, huge, going to be able to get some plates onto himself. Also make sure you can deny some minions down in bot lane. Ooh, 2 plates. So yeah, LWX definitely sitting pretty in this one. But we'll go straight into the replay because FPX want to be the ones that aggress. Looks like Missing just trying to get some damage down onto Kare. Clid finds a knock-up. Looks a little bit dicey, but once the taunt comes through with xiaolaohu waiting in the wings, they're able to guarantee that they find that kill.
FPX back looking in mid lane, trying to catch out Yagao here. Handshake goes wide as well. So Hung not able to land the engage there, at least so far for FPX. We'll be looking at where this Rift Herald is going to go, though, for Kanavi. He's back onto the map here and wanting to try to find advantage with it, right? I would love to see it transition down to this bottom lane, but it's going to be a little while till he makes his way down that way, and Yagao and Kare just going at it in the mid lane. I would wonder where do you think he should utilize this, Lyrics?
I think bot's definitely where I'm looking at, especially once you take into consideration the fact that JDG's bot lane is already breaking down a plate. and even halfway through a second one as well, as we get a replay of what happened in bot lane.
A lot of cooldowns.
Yeah. A lot of poke coming out from Hope, but it does look like Kanavi's going to move down towards that bottom lane like we're hitting on. Look to give gold over to your Aphelios, who's already doing quite well, and then setting him up to be that big carry in these team fights that you know are going to happen, right? Because FPX have the tools to start up a fight anytime they want.
They do indeed. The question is, do they feel confident enough to do so? We'll check in on the bottom lane again. Cole is getting close to completion there for LWX. I will say 369, though, himself has completed the Essence Reaver on the top side early on, about 240, I believe. 1040, rather. 240 would be a little bit crazy. 1040, rather. And I don't think that's too bad, at least on trying to get some item spike potential there on the top side. We have 40 seconds till the next Dragon spawns, though. And with that being said, JDG pulled the trigger on the Rift Herald in mid.
Yeah, kind of interesting that, you know, using the reset timing to opt into looking for this one. I mean, it will set up really nicely for second Herald to be able to break down this turret, right? Especially when you do have a Jinx in mid-game, and you think about the way that lane allocations are going to end up once we get some turrets broken down, which will just be LWX in mid clearing out waves, could be quite annoying. So for JDG, we'll be looking at that one as, I mean, missing. Not going to care that the rocket stops him. Isn't going to be able to get us back, though. Nice job, Mr. President LWX.
Is he Mr. President now? Is that the name we're giving him at this point?
We respect LWX on this broadcast.
We do respect LWX. I think JDG are doing so as well.
Yeah, LWX typically going for those big highlight plays that we love to see, but FPX right now looking to be a little bit cheeky. Oh my God! But look at 369.
He's just hacking away up there on the top side. xiaolaohu will come up this way to respond in that fashion, though. But Dragon still not going down just yet, as Kanavi is this way. Maybe he'll go ahead and focus on the wave clear.
Wow.
He wants to push up into xiaolaohu, who doesn't have a lot of health, and this is monumental gold going to 369.
And you gotta think, right? We've had almost no outside interaction on this top lane. As 369 once again gonna respect, because Care not showing on the wave. They probably saw him move up towards top side on the minions that were in lane. So not wanting to give range for the Hextech ultimatum to come through, but yeah, there's been very little. Yagao.
He was playing close to Kanavi. Big heroic entrance there. Clid still very, very low. Heartbreaker not going to be able to connect the damage there. Care tanking up a storm as well himself. Yagao does not hit the chain. Somehow Clid gets away.
Yeah, Yagao kind of overestimating his damage. Flashes in, throws one Sigil of Malice on a Wukong, gets like 25% HP. So I'm not quite sure what he was seeing there. Maybe thinking he could like land a chain or something to be able to follow that up. Wasn't able to do so, though, so Clid does get away. But I still think the top lane thing is way more interesting, way more hilarious, because, again, we've had almost no interaction, right, between, like, other members and the top laners. We've seen Care hover up, which has forced 369 to play a bit reactively at points, but nothing else. And now 369, by himself, just going to be able to pick up this top lane turret and give JDG so much pressure.
That's crazy.
3,000 gold lead, 13 minutes and 2 dragons.
I mean, that's absolutely crazy. Even with the call for xiaolaohu, like, he didn't get any plates on 369's turret. And that is incredible. Like, look at the gold difference.
Yeah, 369. Looking for another series where he is rolling all night. He's able to just outright back and buy a full item. Mortal Reminder coming out.
He hasn't even used his biscuits. The man ain't even hungry.
Yeah. This could be a fun one to see as well, right? Because playing GP up against the comp that is going to be running into you always feels quite nice. Feels like you could get a good setup to land these huge barrel chains onto multiple members. So 369's a member who's going to have to be pivotal for JDG. And, I mean, heck, JDG are completely fine with how the pace of the game's going so far, right? We've had a lot of isolated lanes with Kanavi kind of going into enemy jungle, showing his face in some lanes to cover, but it's allowing for these 1v1 laning phases to just be able to pull through, where we see Yagao winning out, where we see 369 winning out. And the only lane he has to think about facilitating is this bottom lane. And with LWX and Hung pushing up once again, maybe it sets up a window for Kanavi to look towards his bot side.
Again, going back to the top lane pressure, though, it feels so bad for FPX because you're literally just, like, open, pretty much, naked, if you will, in the top side at this point, with everything still being up.
Naked?
It's so difficult for FPX to find, especially around this Rift Herald, any safety. And I think that makes it a lot easier for JDG to approach these next few minutes in terms of decision making.
Yeah, you definitely do not want to be naked on broadcast. That's
Absolutely not. I've had dreams like
everyone
that.
Out there.
Ends up in nightmares, so you know.
Oh no! I was gonna say,
like you know, when you have the dream
like
of going to school in your underwear or whatever. It's kind of like that. All right, well.
No, I can't say I ever did.
No.
But
did you go to school, Lyric? Did you go to school?
You know what? I don't have to answer your questions, Mazel. You know what? We're just gonna move forward. Look at this Rift Herald. It's getting taken down by JDG. And look, Rift Herald's little brother just spawned the Rift Scuttler. xiaolaohu?
Ooh, Yagao going back in, though. Cannon Barrage is used well as well. Oh, Kanavi coming over the edge. xiaolaohu! The Hextech ultimatum brings him to his doom, and Kanavi's going forward now as well. Care in some trouble. Heartbreaker, not enough. But they'll take down yet another tower, and the floodgates have opened. JDG are moving forward continuously here with the Rift Herald now spawn. Hong has to flash over the wall. That'll be a tier 2. That'll be 2 tier 2s. They get everything.
After that first series, JDG are trying to get us back on schedule with this absolute stomp coming out so far. And this has not been some super bloody affair, right? We're 3 kills in 16 minutes, and JDG just outmaneuvering them on the map. xiaolaohu not able to find the lockdown onto Yagao into any type of combo. JDG reacting very nicely, especially with Kanavi able to come in, kind of force the xiaolaohu back in. And hey, I don't have to talk about it because we're just going to get a replay of what went down, knowing that there's nothing to do on the top side. xiaolaohu looks for it, but distortion countering the dash, able to come through. Yagao with a really nice chain to lock him down. And then right there, right, Kanavi ulting over the wall to get in range to throw out the Q and try and find the kill, which forces xiaolaohu to just kind of say, screw it, I'm dead regardless. Let's go and let's see if we can find something by time. Wasn't able to do it.
That interaction between the Justice Punch and the stud, or I guess like the knockback from the hook shot, was very weird. He's still I don't know. Maybe I'll stop talking about that. But it's still an interesting occasion because going back to the top of the day, the conversation we had was JDG have looked dominant. They've given up games in some of their series, but when they control the map, they literally stranglehold you into submission. And it seems like we're getting a reiteration on that.
I mean, JDG are definitely a team that knows how to play from ahead, right? If you give JDG a lead, JDG know how to close it out. And now looking to choke out FPX with these dragons. Sitting on 2, this would be sole point for them. They have Care playing off to a side, but JDG putting that ward down, now know where Care is. JDG are taking it really slow, though, because look at what Lwx is doing on the minimap. He's trying to push in bot wave, trying to kind of pull JDG out, but JDG aren't moving.
xiaolaohu, he has to get away from that one. Hookshot over the wall. We'll see the hostile takeover do some serious work. FPX just buy time, though, because the rest heroic interest coming on the back like Clid is cycloning it up here. Mega Death Rocket's not going to hit the damage that he needed. Care gets 369 somehow. This fight's all over. Clid goes down. Kanavi gets the resets. And now he's coming to task on the rest of FPX. He really wants to get those resets. He has the Heartbreaker, and there you go.
Oh,
That's another one. That's 2 for Kanavi. Can he get a Penta here? He's looking for it. He's got the Jinx. He's got the Heartbreaker still, but it's not going to be so. He can clean up the rest of FPX, but he will not be given the Penta today. He'll be given a triple kill, and it's a double for the side. Or it's a full ace for the side of JDG, into a dragon, into a soul point, into a 6,000 gold lead.
It might have looked a little bit dicey to start off the fight, but Kanavi finds the resets. JDG pick up the dragon, and now for JDG, I mean 369 already TPing back on the map to keep up pressure towards this top side. You'd expect JDG to start maneuvering more members up towards that top side, getting vision down with Baron coming up in 40 seconds. And now, I mean, for FPX, what do you do, right? You have a composition that can really only go in, and now you're so far behind. We'll go straight into the replay. You were hitting on it, Yagao forcing out xiaolaohu from the initial play on Dragon, and then JDG looking for the engage with missing going in. Nice ultimate coming out from Hung to make sure that they aren't able to find their way onto the back line. Yagao gets some nice damage in, but this is where the fight kind of splits into 2 parts, right? We have sole laners of JDG on one side, with Clid actually doing a lot of work on the back line, missing with a really clutch hook into a stopwatch right now, which is going to keep him alive. But still, Lwx able to find some kills on the other side of the fight. Sadly, though, they are all very low. Kanavi's still full HP. He's taken over Clid's body, and it is a reset city.
Yeah, it's crazy that missing, you know, after all of that, like that's some MVP level play from that one. Saving hope at the last second there, being able to turn it around, stopwatching to not give over the kill, and surviving through the whole thing. I think JDG are just performing to a T at this point, and it's just a matter of time, it feels like, till they round out this game. Almost 7,000 gold in the lead. Baron is on the table. Dragon in 3.5 minutes. I don't even know if they need that.
No, I mean, especially 369's picked up. Oh,
going
wait,
for it.
engage.
Missing gets caught in the chompers, though. We got a TP coming in. Hostile takeover, not going to do too much for Hung. Care is here. Lwx is just trying to run away. He gets the bailout on him, but he dies anyways. Hextech ultimatum. Double knockup back on Clid. It's still Kanavi getting resets. It's FPX being burned down to the ground, and there is no home left to revive from. It's Kanavi continuously looking for it. Will find Hung under tower here. Bailout, again, will not save you today.
No, but now JDG just going to take everything away from FPX, stealing away their camps. Sadly, they don't really have the setup to turn onto a Baron, especially considering this fight was in bot side jungle. But coming into this fight, off the resets, 369 picked up another full item. So he is 3 items compared to only 1 full item for the side of xiaolaohu, actually going for a bit of a burstier Prowler's Claw build coming on through. But I guess we're going to go straight into the replay. Like you said, JDG just looking for the aggression, closing so much distance. Kanavi doesn't even care about any of the damage from the ult. Uses it to close the gap onto Lwx, and then he just runs him down. On the opposite side, though, Clid does get on top of Hope, so they have some nice damage coming out from the 2 members of FPX to be able to get him low and take him down in return for the AD carry. But the problem is, I mean, for JDG, they don't only have 1 Fed member. Their whole team is huge right now, so Kanavi able to keep running down Hung, while 369, Yagao, and Missing are able to pick off the Wukong and the Camille on the other end. So JDG,
oh my god,
stats diff, money diff, just absolutely everything coming through right now. They're just too big in terms of the items that they have built in comparison to FPX.
Yeah, 369 just got another tower in the side lane as well. His lead is so big. He's at 50 CS differential.
Mazel,
what?
I was hoping for another full item to come through.
I was hoping
it's
too.
Not.
It's
he
not.
just got a BF sword.
He's a
in the
failure.
stopwatch. Not important.
He only has boots. Come on, if you're rich, you gotta have good shoes. I feel like you still haven't bought the boot. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. It's fine. It's fine. Because JDG are fine in this situation. They're cruising. All right, they're having a good time. And there's still about a minute for the next dragon to spawn. I would expect they wait a little bit of time for that, get the red buff for Hope, and set up vision around this objective. Or, since they have had complete dragon dominance, give FPX this one, take the Baron. They have everything they could ask for. The world is JDG's devil oyster.
I think for JDG, you don't need to opt into doing that just for the fact that, like, you know you're stronger in fights. So, if anything, I'm interested to see if FPX are going to be the team who are like, hey, guys, maybe we should try and, like, rush Baron while they do Dragon. I don't think they have the damage. I actually don't think they can look for the play. But FPX are definitely the team who have to weigh their options of, like, do we risk contesting a fight that we should almost guaranteed lose? Or do we look to try to pull them elsewhere?
369 waiting with some barrels in the bush as 5 members of FPX come up. This is looking like a setup for 369 to get another pentakill. He's got barrels aplenty, but the rest of FPX are going to move away from the engage. These tight chokeholds are not a good place to fight for FPX unless they can get the wombo combo off that we know and love.
Yeah, and they're trying to find their way onto Hope like that consistently is Clid. Going to be able to escape with the clone, but JDG now just going to start up the dragon right away. They have the position with Yagao playing off to the side, and even a barrel set up 4-3-6-9 to try to land a huge combo.
Ooh, he had to use the mimic there, but the dragon's already going down. Clid's into it, though. Is he going to look for the dragon? He's staying by it. He doesn't get it! The heroic entrance comes through, but FPX now are trying to take this fight. It's all one-sided, though. Look at the difference. They're slapping them with their gold bags right now, Lyric. I can't watch. Hung is going to be dragged out by Kanavi. That's Dragon's soul, and that's just the game at this point.
Yeah, this one has definitely felt over for a little bit now. Yagao going to keep going forward to find the kill onto Clid. Ooh, Care. He's still dead.
Oh, no. He's just breaking ankles. He's breaking ankles. I can't do it. Oh, he throws up the Nico.
I was so scared that Care was going to outplay him so hard and Yagao was going to look like a fool. But in the end, Yagao picks up a double kill. They are taking Baron, as well as it looks like they're going to be able to threaten 2 inhibs at the same time. My God, what a smashing coming out from
This ain't
JDG.
good enough, Lyric. This ain't good enough. We're 25 minutes in. It's going to take at least another 5 minutes. This ain't good enough after that first series. That's all I'm saying. JDG, shame. Shame. No, in all actuality, it's continued dominance that we've seen from JDG in terms of how they approach games, their strategy coming in, and the wonderful execution that they end up pulling off.
Yeah, we kind of come in. JDG already set up right barrels in place. Yagao looking to come in from the side. You see FPX's plan, right? It's to get onto Hope. They bring xiaolaohu in. They have the Galio there to follow up, but not able to get any damage on him. Here he's going to flash over the wall. He's going to get away safely, and you're just in a position where, like you said, right, it's just JDG kind of hitting them with their bags of money. Hope able to take down Lwx 369, buying time for Yagao to be able to help him out on the other end of the fight. And then, as always, JDG having the ability to run down the members of FPX to guarantee the objectives they need. Now with Soul, now with Baron, you know what we're going towards? We're going towards game 2.
Hey, they didn't get the inhibs, all right? They didn't get the inhibs. Look at the damage profile from JDG, though. They're all right there in the neck of things. And Care, you're no longer with them. Oh, flash from Kanavi. Oh, my God. The bailout. It's not, Kanavi is just walking at people right now. I don't know what to say. He's just absolutely monstrous at this point. 9, 0, and 5 on the Viego. This is just a moment of time for JDG.
Yeah, Kanavi just absolutely taking everything this series. And, you know, this feels like a good part as the game's about to end to remind everyone that Ox predicting FPX.
He did.
You know, not looking so good so far, but this is a series. It's not a best of one.
It is.
JDG have lost games before.
It is indeed. JDG always lose one, it seems, and they'll finish off this game slowly but surely. 27 minutes in, we'll get the finish from JDG that the world would have expected. They need a couple more kills potentially. They want to try to find Hung. They're just ending the game at this point. Care almost low goes down, and it will be the last touches to the Nexus. JDG come out with game number 1.
Beautiful game from JDG. Beautiful game from Kanavi. We were hitting on it before the game, right? That Kanavi has had a great split so far, kind of barring his Vi games. Everything else feels like Kanavi just in the regular season, right? Kanavi always so solid, always looks like a stud. And in those team fights, he was doing so much with the resets, running down members from the side of FPX. And for FPX, sadly, they just weren't able to get it going, like all the way from laning phase, right? We saw 369 with no intervention, really, no help. Just completely out-trade xiaolaohu, dominate him, take turret by himself. In mid lane, Yagao does have a matchup with pressure, right? You're playing like range into melee, was able to poke him out, but still like had a lot more pressure than I think you can assume coming out from this. And then in the bottom lane, Kanavi was able to influence that so early on that the whole map was just winning for JDG from the start.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the conversation we had about putting so many eggs in the bottom lane basket for both these teams. And coming away from game 1, it was LWX or bust. It was bust that came off that time. I don't know what to say much more about that, but I think that's the interesting thing going into game 2 is how do FPX adapt to this? How do they try to actually play through their win conditions instead of drafting a composition that looks good on paper, but then being a little bit amalgamous in the game and not really finding the direction that they wanted to?
Look, since like I feel like there's a few problems, right? Obviously, like the early gank was really nice. Clid not spotting that out, not even expecting that to happen. So kind of outplaying Clid in that regard. We talked about Clid. We definitely need to come in and have a great series today and be able to shut Kanavi down to win. But also, we're gonna just need to see a better performance just in individual lanes, right?
Absolutely.
For FPX, I wonder if they'll swap over to red side. I feel like teams have obviously been opting a lot more into blue, considering that red feels like. You definitely should ban Zeri, but then, right, you can justify banning Wukong. There's so many things that red side it feels like can or has to ban right now. But, I don't know. I'd like to see FPX get on the end of some more comfortable champions, considering, again, they just struggled so much so early on.
And, yeah, it wasn't for lack of trying. I feel like, as you had said earlier, right, the early attempted skirmishes and ganks by Clid, it just didn't work out. The Wukong, not necessarily looking like the kind of pivotal champion that has been calling all the bans to it. And I think that going into the next game, it's I wouldn't mind seeing this composition again from FPX, but it's about the execution because they ended up in a 17,000 deficit by the end of it, and that's never something you want to write home about whatsoever. Look at, by the way, no big deal. Kanavi with 5 out of the 6 stats top on his team, no big deal.
I mean, right? Like jungle's damage percent is usually somewhere between like 13% and like 19% on the high end. Our only exception in LPL is Shun, who does like 26%, which is crazy. So yeah, this like almost 28% of your team's damage as a jungler is like incredibly, insanely out of this world. It makes sense, right? Because we even saw in the fight that JDG, we'll say quote unquote almost lost, right? Like where they actually did lose 2 members. Kanavi was able to then clean everyone up, and heck, you were even speculating like, are we gonna see a pentakill from this guy? Because again, he's just able to do so much. It feels like for JDG, they had so much burst coming out for the initial kill, right? You have things like the LeBlanc, you have maybe a GP barrel connecting, bam, 1 member dead, then this Viego able to just go and run free. So now for FPX, we're gonna see if they can adapt in game 2, if they'll change sides, which I don't really expect them to do. But I would definitely think they're going to change their game plan coming into game 2.
We'll see what that game plan adaptation is. And if we go the distance with the second series of the night, FPX versus JDG will return right after this break.